What the body remembers, it can release. I used to have so many clients who tell me, I can't remember anything about my childhood. And what I would say is, consciously, you may not be able to remember, but what I would say is the body remembers. What do I mean by that? I'd say the body is a holder of consciousness. So, in a whole other level, you could say it's a record. And it holds a record of everything that has happened, is happening, and potentially could happen. So it is a record of everything. And all you have to do is go into the record. And then you can remember things that consciously there's no way you possibly could remember. And that makes sense because you could say, certainly for anything you're traumatized, you could say something got dismembered and split off and has taken on a life of its own. So it becomes very hard for you to remember because it's not available to you, but it is available to you through body sensation. And so what I would say to you is you can find everything that ever happened to you. The way to do it is to find the body sensation. And I will give you a very strange example. I had a young man come in who was on what we call on the spectrum. He was autistic and he had a lot of difficulties. And we found out that a lot of his difficulties happened to him when he was in the womb between conception and birth. And we dropped him into what we determined happened, which was a kind of feeling of being cursed. And he found the sensation with it. And he said, I know exactly what's happening. I was in the, he said this literally. He said, I'm 7 months after I'm in the womb. I've been there for 7 months and I've had a curse put on me and I'm not going to grow anymore and I'm going to have all kinds of threats. And he's describing this, what happens to him at 7 months. Now, his mother was there with him. And his mother, as he's saying all this, is sort of turning white as a sheet. And she tells me afterwards, because one of his problems is his failure to thrive, she said he was developing normally until he was 7 months old. And then he stopped developing normally and he was in the third percentile. And no one, as far as she knows, ever told him that. But he found that 7-month-old fetus in the womb that was being cursed, and he took out his ray gun and shot the curse. And the fascinating thing about that was he came back a few weeks later and he went from being very small. I think his mother said he was like in the third or fourth percentile of growth. And he had gained an incredible amount of weight and he was looking much more like a kid who was normative. And his mother said he's gone up like to the 20th percentile in about 3 weeks. So what I would say is this, everything is there to be remembered. All you have to do is go into the body and find the part of you that's stuck someplace and let it share its story. And suddenly you will be able to consciously remember things that you consciously couldn't begin to remember before because they're all there right now anyway. And when you find them, even things that you could think, there's no way I could remember what happened in the womb. But I'll tell you, this little boy did, according to his mother. And we changed it. And it had a remarkable, truly, from her point of view, and I think from his also, a miraculous result. If you're interested in this way of working, which you may well be, you can go to lifecenteredtherapy.com and book a consultation. And if you're interested in learning more about it, just go there and you can find all kinds of resources and you can learn with us. And if you want, read our book, The 1 Hour Miracle, which is really fun to read. And we'll spell out all of this in a way that you really can have a good time and understand it. Thank you so much.